Hey guys, I'm Elizabeth McCravey, a website designer and business coach for entrepreneurs and your host for the Breakthrough Brand podcast, the show that's all about pulling back the curtain on how to actually build a successful business. I don't skim the surface around here. If you want a deep dive into the nitty-gritty details of what it takes to run a successful business and stand out in a crowd, you're in the right place. After creating a multiple six-figure-a-year website design business in my 20s, I'm ready to share everything I've learned and everything I'm still learning because I believe the keys to building a thriving business should never be a secret. Here you'll find episodes that are actionable, direct, and fun, like friends chatting business over coffee, and a fresh, honest take on the reality of being an entrepreneur. If you're ready to master online marketing, branding, website design, mindset, and business strategy, then this is the podcast for you. It's time to build your breakthrough brand. Let's do this. Welcome back to the Breakthrough Brand podcast. I'm so excited about this episode. Today, I have 9 amazing guests for you, 9 different perspectives on productivity and time management as a working mom. So I asked some business friends to share with myself and with you all how their productivity changed when becoming a mom and any tips they have for getting stuff done when, let's be honest, your time is more limited, whether you have a newborn or a teenager, or if you use daycare, if you're a stay-at-home mom, doesn't matter. It all changes with kids, and it changes for the best, of course. But those of you who are like me and who have maybe done business without being a mom and then done business as a mom, you're going to feel the strains on your time, like the pressures of like, do I work during nap time or do I take a break? How do I be a present mom and present when working? And like, how do I actually get stuff done when like the moments are shorter between something like breastfeeding? So many different things. So for me, once I started back to work for my maternity leave, which scroll back a few episodes if you want to hear more about that. I did 2 different episodes of my maternity leave. I'll link to those in the show notes. But I realized coming back that so much of the productivity stuff we're taught just does not work well when you're juggling a baby too. And so I wanted to ask like women who are doing it, like, okay, how are you doing it? For me, going back to work, my hours instantly became more limited. I was running on less sleep. Figuring out what to focus on became much harder, like figuring out what to prioritize. And I know not every stage is quite like those first few months of life, but regardless, it does change things about how you work when you have a baby. So you're about to hear from moms in a variety of different situations, different phases of life. We've got moms who homeschool, moms whose kids are in school all day. We've got moms of babies under 1 to toddlers, all the way to the teen years and even adulthood. We've got a twin mama, a grandmother, and so many different situations in all these stages of motherhood. And they're bringing you, like I said, their top tips for finding productivity and the best we can of like working balance between home and business. So everyone's going to introduce themselves before sharing their tips. So I'm not going to like introduce everyone on the front end here. But if you do want to see everyone's names in order that they speak, look in the show notes. I have that written out. And then in the blog post for this episode, I'm linking to everyone's business website too, so you can go check them out and connect with them. You're going to hear some familiar voices from people who have been on the show before and some familiar names as well, like some women who are on my team in my business on this episode. Again, I just love the advice here. I just got through listening to the episode myself, and gosh, talk about productivity and juggling lots of things as a working mom right now. I'm recording this as I wait for Colin to hopefully, fingers crossed, fall asleep. It is his nap time and he's still awake. And I have the monitor in front of me. I just got done like trying to get him calm because he was kind of freaking out. And now I'm like watching with the volume down so y'all don't hear that noisemaker in the background. I'm hoping he falls asleep. But anyway, that's what we're talking about, right? So I love the advice. I just listened to the episode myself. It's blessed me. I hope it blesses you as well. If you find this episode helpful, please leave a rating and review for the podcast. I'd love to hear from you. Reviews so help the show, and I seriously love reading all of them. So I would appreciate that. And if you have a friend in your life who you think would benefit from this episode, please also share with them. All right, so let's dive into the first tip now from Stephanie King.
Hey everyone, my name is Stephanie and I am the owner and creator of My Essential Birth, which is an online childbirth education course. I'm also a professional doula and childbirth educator and the host of the Pregnancy and Birth Made Easy podcast. So Elizabeth and I were awesome, able to connect when she took my birth course during her pregnancy. I'm also a mom to 3 boys. They are currently 12, 10, and 8, but they are about to be 13, 11, and 9, which is just crazy. I also homeschool, so I hope you enjoy these productivity tips.
I love this question about balance, and I think this is something we're probably all trying to achieve at different levels in our life. And the truth is, every couple weeks or months, I'm constantly looking for new ways to find that balance. And I think that's just because life changes, things happen, and it's just part of it, right? So I will tell you that being a business owner lights me up. I love being a mother. I love it with everything in my heart. And I really have to have something for myself that I can do. And in this way, I am serving other women. I love what I do. It lights me up. And I think that makes me a better mom with my kids. And it's not to say that I don't have a challenge back and forth with making sure that I'm being a good enough mom and also serving the people that are my consumers, my clients. But it does mean that I get to have joy in both of those things. And there is kind of that balance. It's never perfect. You're always going to be doing one, I think, better or more in depth than the other. So let me tell you a little bit about my day and what I find is working well for me right now. And I promise you it's not perfect, but these are things that I am enjoying and that are helping me and lighting me up. So I do have a morning routine. This is something that I came upon kind of early in my business, maybe halfway. I'm about 4.5, maybe 5 years into what I'm doing right now. But I'd say probably about 2 years in, I was feeling exhausted and overwhelmed and all the things. And so a morning routine was really important for me. And what that looks like is I get up before my kids, and it's not super early. I mean, like maybe 7 a.m. I get up before my kids. I write a gratitude list immediately. I write out 10 dreams that I have, kind of that Rachel Hollis thing that she does. And then I immediately jump into my scriptures. Sometimes it's like a full-blown scripture study. Most often, it's about 20 to 30 minutes of me reading scriptures, pondering, possibly journaling, and then I hit my knees and I say my prayers before I get the day going. That has probably been the absolute biggest thing in the way of balance, in the way of productivity, in the way of being able to show up for my business and my family. As part of that is understanding that I am a daughter of God and that what I am doing is benefiting God's children in the way of being a mother and in the way of showing up as a business owner. So putting Heavenly Father, my Heavenly Father first, and this is something I'm working on currently right now. It's one of the goals that I have written for 2022. I want Heavenly Father to be a part of my business every day from the beginning. I want to make sure that I am keeping that connection and allowing Him to be part of it. Because truly, right, there's nothing that I'm doing that I'm not doing it without that connection, or at least I certainly would not be doing it well. Another thing that I find has been helpful for me, and I'm still getting a grasp on it, and that is calendaring my time, right? I know some people really like to you have to know what you're doing at every part of the day, and I can't live completely like that. I do really well that way. I like to write it out that way, but I give myself a little bit of grace to be able to do what I need to do at different times of the day, right? When you have little kids at home, and I'm a homeschool mom, so they're home all day, I'm going to have needs that come up that aren't going to fit into my workday schedule, but I do like the idea of planning out the year and making some big goals. You know, these are the things I want to achieve in my business. These are the things I want to achieve in my home. And I work the home one with my husband. I work the business one by myself, although I do include him in those plans and ideas. And then I try and figure out, okay, if these are my goals for the year, let's bring that back to the quarter. If I want this many students a month, if my big thing is that I want to go on family vacations, for this quarter, how am I going to meet those goals? How many lives do I have to do? How much money do we have to save for our family vacation? What does that really look like? And then breaking that down back into weeks. And so that's where I actually use something called the Full Focus Planner. I'm getting better at it. This is a Michael Hyatt product. I'm getting better at it. I'm not perfect, but I will tell you that every time I continuously try to get better at something, I inevitably do get a little bit better. And finally, the thing that I absolutely love to do that has really made a difference for me and how I am showing up in my business, showing up in my family, how I'm treating my family, how I'm treating myself, and the joy that I'm feeling. And that has to do with exercise. I just a couple years ago did my very first half marathon. And before I started training for that, I had never run more than 6 miles. And I had done that once in my life. I checked it off the box and it was done. And then I trained for this half marathon and it really pushed me. It changed me. And so ever since then, I'm like, you know what? Exercise, setting goals, physical, business, all of that, it matters. It makes a difference and it's part of it. And I've included my family in that too. So I have littles, but as they get bigger, they've come on runs with me. I just did a 10K with my son last year. But exercise and how we move our bodies and show up for ourselves, you know, how we're eating, all the water that we're drinking, that makes a difference too. So I hope these things were useful. I hope it's something that you listen to this and you're like, oh, I can do that. And this might actually be helpful, because seriously, that's all I've done is I've listened to other people and thought, I'm going to incorporate that into my life. And it's made a difference every time.
Hi everyone, my name is Kate Rosenow and I am a business coach and the owner of Work Well with Kate. And I had the pleasure of chatting with Elizabeth on the podcast a while ago about streamlining your business. So I'm thrilled to be back here talking about navigating motherhood as a business owner. I have a now 7-month-old son, and before I gave birth, I was fully prepped in my business to step away for at least 4 months. So I was incredibly surprised when at month 2, I was absolutely dying to get back into my business because I needed some sense of routine and mental stimulation that doesn't necessarily come with the newborn stage. And you know exactly what I'm talking about if you're a mom. So since my business was already set up to be efficient and productive, I actually had to work on systems for my personal life, which was a fun new challenge for me. So instead of the typical outsourcing I do, which is very business related, I started outsourcing household tasks like grocery delivery, laundry, diaper and formula subscriptions, and hiring TaskRabbit folks to do odd jobs around the house. And before you hear the words grocery delivery and think I'm living some lavish Real Housewives life to afford to get my groceries delivered, I want you to consider this. The grocery store near my house will deliver my groceries anytime for $99 a year. So let's say you typically grocery shop weekly, which means you would be spending at least 52 hours a year at the grocery store grocery shopping. If your hourly rate for your work is, I don't know, around $100 an hour, then you're actually making more than $5,000 a year by showing up in your business or doing something business related instead of grocery shopping. Not to mention that you're saving yourself from bringing an infant into a grocery store and all that entails, which for me is a huge bullet dodged. For sure. So all of that to say, there are so many ways to outsource and automate things, not only in your business, but also in your personal life. And that will allow you to do more of the things you actually want to do, or at least that I wanted to do, which was either working in the business that I loved or spending time with this baby that I loved. So I hope this helps, and I'm wishing you all of the productivity and efficiency possible in motherhood and in business.
Interrupting this episode with a suggestion for the small business owners listening. Ever wonder what you should do for healthcare when you and your spouse are both self-employed, so there's no work-provided health insurance to participate in? Well, when my husband Adam joined me in the entrepreneurial job space over 4 years ago, we joined Christian Healthcare Ministries instead of getting traditional health insurance. And it was the best decision for us, especially in these years of growing and raising a family while also running multiple businesses. CHM is a health cost-sharing ministry and is a faith-based alternative to health insurance. We did tons of research before choosing CHM, and if you know me and Adam, you know we are all about doing the math when making big or small financial decisions. And even though it's not insurance, CHM shares 100% of eligible medical bills, which is more than the typical 70 or 80% of medical bills paid for by insurance companies. All sharing is determined by the CHM guidelines, which you can check out before and after joining. And for the mamas and mamas to be listening, you truly cannot find a better healthcare option for maternity care. I had a vaginal delivery and a C-section and birth center care and hospital care between my 2 pregnancies and births, and it was all 100% shared for. And outside of birth, we've had our share of emergency room visits and procedures as a family, and those costs were all shared by members at Christian Healthcare Ministries, leaving us only paying our monthly contribution. CHM is less expensive month to month than insurance, and because there's no network, you can choose your care with whichever providers best fit your family. I seriously just cannot recommend Christian Healthcare Ministries enough. You've got to check them out. Go to elizabethmccravey.com/CHM for more information. Also putting that link in the show notes, elizabethmccravey.com/CHM. Now back to the episode.
Hello. I am Dawn Patton. I'm the owner of Patton Accounting and Tax, and we do bookkeeping, taxes, financial coaching for entrepreneurs. I actually happen to be Elizabeth's accountant, which is how she knows me. I had my first baby, a little girl who I'm obsessed with, just a few months before Elizabeth had her cute little baby boy. And it's been so fun kind of going through this pivot alongside her and just seeing how she's created space in her business, because it's really helped and inspired me as I go through this pivot, creating space in my own business and learning so much doing it. Oh my goodness. Learning so much and giving myself a whole lot of grace. That goes without saying. I do plan on listening to this episode because I'm so excited to hear the tips from all the other working mamas. So to tell you a little bit more about my business, I actually started my business in January of 2020. So right before lovely COVID. I started my own business because my husband and we were planning on starting our family soon. And I knew I wanted to have something outside of motherhood. So all respect to mothers who motherhood is like 100% fulfilling, and that is all they need. Great, good on them. But I knew that wasn't me. And luckily I was aware enough to know that about myself going into it, which is why I created my business. It was going to be my outlet. Just a nice place to feel, in air quotes, productive and have my own identity outside of motherhood. So started my business. It was going really well. But I say all that to let you know it was supposed to just be a hobby. Just something I did on the side, a few hours a week. But that hobby quickly turned into a legit business. So within 2 months, I hired. Within 3 months, I had 2 employees working for me. That's been the cycle of my business. We grow and we grow and we grow, and we get to the point where I start feeling overwhelmed again, and then we hire. And then we grow some more. I start feeling overwhelmed. We hire again. And so that's kind of been the cycle of the business. It is now January of 2022 when I'm recording this. So it's been 2 years in the business. We now have 8 employees and 2 contractors that work for us. And it has been amazing. I'm now working about 20 hours a week, which gives me a lot of space and opportunity to be with my baby girl. That's not to say it's easy though. It's still juggling a whole lot, but that goes without saying, or at least I hope you see where I'm going with this. My all-time productivity hack is to outsource, because I would not be where I am today without my team. It's just not possible. There's only so much time in the day, and I only have so much energy to give to my clients. And luckily, my team allows me to serve more female entrepreneurs without taking away a lot of time or my energy. So my boundaries are protected. I get to keep serving entrepreneurs. I hate the feeling of not being able to help because we're at capacity. And so having a team allows me to say, even though if I can't help, it allows me to say, yes, my team can help with that. Like, let's do it. And you know what? If we get to the point where we're feeling spread thin again, great, we'll hire again. So I just love that I have that ever-growing capacity to serve the people who need to be served. Additionally, my revenue is not capped anymore. Like as a one-person show, you can only do so much. Well, at least I could, because I mostly offer done for you services. I could only do so much as a one person show. With my team, now we get to do even more. Additionally, I, as the business owner, get to create the type of work environment that I wish I would have had as an employee. I get to bless the lives of my team by offering the best clients ever. I get to offer good play, good pay, flexible schedules, an uplifting work environment, lots of opportunities to work and grow and learn and educate, a work-life balance, paid maternity leaves, just all these things that are important to me. I mean, that just blows my mind. Like, how amazing is that? One business can bless so many lives. Like, it's not just blessing my life, it's my life and my clients' lives and my employees' lives. And it's just been so good. Let me take a minute to clarify something. In my case, outsourcing looked like hiring a lot of employees. So that's the example that I'm using right now. But that doesn't make sense for every business. Every business looks different. Every business has different seasons. So maybe it makes more sense to hire contractors in your business. Contractors to help with admin support or photography, social media, web design, whatever it is. Or maybe you don't choose to outsource in your business. Maybe you choose to outsource in your home and you hire a meal delivery service, or you get grocery pickup, or you hire a nanny or a cleaning service. It could honestly look like so many things. The point is you get help and you get support so that your time can be focused on the things only you can do. And ultimately, that's the question you should start with when you hire. What are the things that you're doing right now that someone else could do? There might be some creative outlets that you want to keep on your plate, and that's fine. But ultimately, you just want to make sure that your time and your energy is being used wisely, because there's only one you. So spend your time where it matters most. Make the most of your time. Get all the baby cuddles you can. Your babies are only going to be young once, and outsource where you can.
Hey there, I'm Stacey, owner of Coffee and Flow Creative. I am a Showit website designer, and I specialize in white label design work for other Showit website designers. And I also provide Showit template customization services and Showit design assistance for entrepreneurs. You may have talked to me if you are an EM Shop customer. I am in charge of customer service for Elizabeth, and I just love being part of her team. I have a 6-year-old son, and my significant other has a 10-year-old daughter and a 6-year-old son as well. So we are a family of 5 living in Maine. I am in my first few months of experiencing all kids in school from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And when I think about life when my little guy was a baby compared to how it is now with everybody in school, I feel like the biggest productivity tip I have is to schedule at least one day 100% focused and dedicated on your business. Whether it's an entire day or a half day, even a few hours, having that scheduled focus time is so important. And I think it's really important because it really affects your mindset. Just knowing that you have that time set aside where you can just sit and focus really sets the tone for your week. I think when your kids are little, you spend time squeezing in your business when they're sleeping, when they're taking naps, before, after, late nights, early mornings. You're doing everything you can to just squeeze in those few minutes of work. But if you're anything like me, you know they'll go to sleep and you'll be like, all right, I'm ready for this hour. And it will be 5 minutes. And then you'll wake up, they'll wake up, and you will be so annoyed that you couldn't get your work done. Even if you're sitting there and they're taking a nap, you're always keeping your ear out. You're listening for them, feeling that pressure of what if they wake up? What if I don't finish this project? And it just ruins your whole work time that you have set aside, I feel like. Even when they're older, I have a lot more time now, but even when they're home, I find myself checking social media, answering emails that don't require too much focus or thinking, and it's still the same result. You're not focused. You're listening to them beat each other up. They need a snack. You got to pour something for them. It's just not dedicated time. And it really, for me, I know it affects my mindset so much. You know, you just feel it through the whole house, through your kids, through yourself. And that's why having that dedicated time is so important. It makes the rest of the week a little bit easier because you're looking forward to that focused day. When they're little, you can use that focus day for scheduling meetings or calls, anything that requires a lot of focus. And even when they're older, using it for anything that needs 100% focus. Projects, meetings too, but I think when your kids are in school, you have a little bit more time. I think when you're at home, you have more of a tendency to fill in that time with little things like dishes or laundry or cleaning or picking stuff up. So having that day where you're not going to the grocery store, you're not squeezing in those little tasks that, unloading the dishwasher or anything like that, you're focused. You're like, this is my day where I'm sitting and I'm working and I'm getting this stuff done. I know that when my little guy was little, I was so grateful to have parents that lived close by and they could watch my son whenever I needed to squeeze in a meeting or have some focus time. But I think even if you don't have a family member close by, there's someone out there that would love the opportunity to watch a little kid. Someone that has grandkids that are grown up, maybe a friend that stays home with their own kids and needs a little extra money. I think there's someone out there in your world that would be so happy and so thankful that you would trust them with your little guy or girl. It doesn't mean you have to pay them either. Maybe you bring them a coffee when you drop your kid off, or maybe you make them dinner on those nights where they watch your kid. There's so many options out there, but the most important thing is that you have that day to focus. So that is my productivity tip. Whether your kids are little or older, whether you have all the time in the world during school, or you have just a little bit of time, you schedule yourself one day a week or a few hours a week, 100% alone, dedicated, focused to what you're doing. And I just want to end with this reminder. I know when kids are little, whether they're babies or if they're in school, everyone says, cherish these moments, time flies by so fast, spend as much time as possible, but you have to remember that you're allowed to have time to yourself too. The kid will be okay with someone else for a short amount of time. It's going to make you a better mom. It's going to make your business better. It's good for them to have experiences away from you, and you should be able to do that guilt-free. So schedule that day or half day or a few hours, grab a coffee, and sit down and focus because you deserve it.
Hello, I'm Becky Hoschek, and I am a life and mindset coach for moms building businesses while raising kids. Most of my clients are creative entrepreneurs and coaches, and like many of you, time is their most valued resource. You want to pursue the business you're called to build and the work you love to do, but you also want to be present with your family and enjoy the time freedom that was likely part of your decision to create your own business to begin with. When Elizabeth asked me to share a tip for navigating motherhood and business and productivity, so many came to mind. Today I have 3 school-aged kids, but it wasn't that long ago that I had a 1-year-old and newborn twins. You probably aren't surprised to learn that it was also that year in my life that I became a devoted coffee drinker. And when I think of the most valuable thing I can share with you today, it's something that is relevant at any stage of motherhood. And it's more mindset-based than a tactical tip, but it is life-changing. And that one thing I would offer you is not to pursue work-life balance, to let that go. I'd encourage you not to try to seek or pursue that or get caught up in days where you believe that if only you could achieve work-life balance, if you could figure that out, everything would be better. I see so many incredible moms who are miserable because they're chasing work-life balance. And the truth is that it's just not an actual thing. It's not a destination you arrive at. What trying to achieve work-life balance feels like is like running a race where there's no finish line. You don't know when you've reached the destination, so you just keep running. And it's exhausting. So many moms who come to me wanting support through coaching share that the one thing they want more of in their life is balance. When I ask them what that looks like or how they'll know when they get there, they just stare at me blankly. Because balance seems to be this destination we think we're supposed to be working toward, but we have no idea what that actually means. And the more we try to figure this balance thing out as moms, the more we feel stressed, overwhelmed, and stuck. If you've found yourself thinking you're the only one who doesn't know the secret to this work-life balance thing as a mom, you can exhale. You haven't figured it out because no one has. It's just not a real thing. But let's talk about why so many of us think that's what we need in our lives: balance. It's because we care deeply about these two roles we've been called to, motherhood and business, and we want to do them well. We want to do the right thing. We want to show up the best we can for both. We live in a world that tells us you have to choose, that you can be a present mom or a successful business owner, but not both. And today I want to tell you that this is not true. You can do both, and you can do both well on your terms. I believe there is a direct relationship between how we think about our time and how we feel about our lives. Rethinking your time changes not just how your days feel, but how you show up in every aspect of your life. I believe our greatest asset in both motherhood and business is our minds. And when we combine mindset and practical, simple strategies that work, we can rethink our time and design days and lives and businesses that align with what matters most. I literally help business building moms create more time in their days without sacrificing their business goals. And it's that sustainable lifestyle that allows them to build their business intentionally without burning out. If you find yourself not having the time you want in your days and you just want to have more time for what matters most, I would love to connect with you. You can connect with me on Instagram, where I'm at Becky Hoschek, BeckyHoschek. DM me with the word time if you'd like to learn more about how I can help you create more time without having to downsize your business dreams and goals. I also have a podcast on mindset and business for moms called Beyond Happy, and Beyond Happy is available wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you so much for having me today.
Hey guys, this is Abby Powell. I work behind the scenes here on Elizabeth's team. I'm also the designer and creative services manager over at Abby Powell Designs. I've owned my business for about a year, but I've been working behind the scenes here with Elizabeth for about 2 years. And I have a daughter. Her name is Amazin. She just turned 3. Whenever I think about productivity as a working mom, especially a work from home mom, I think back to when I transitioned away from my office job and transitioned to a work at home job with my daughter at home all the time and, living in the mess of toddler and also work in the same place. And I really struggled to exit out of mom mode and out of housekeeper mode and enter into work mode whenever Emmy would go down for a nap. And you know what I'm talking about? Like the moment you lay your kid down for a nap and they fall asleep and you think to yourself, this nap could last 10 minutes, it could last an hour and a half. And I have about 1 million things that I could do with this time. And for me, that time was supposed to be designated for work, but I really struggled to be able to dive right into work with my house being a total wreck. And I didn't feel like I could justify cleaning or organizing when I was needed to spend my time focusing on work tasks. So this tip is my compromise to myself and my best productivity tip to you, especially if you feel anything like me, being overwhelmed with work and home not being separated quite as much. So whenever I put Emmy down for a nap and it's time to go into work mode, sometimes I even do this when she's still awake now that she's getting a little bit bigger, but I set a timer anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, depending on what I feel like I need. And I clean or pick up anything that's making me crazy in the house until the timer goes off. And when the timer goes off, you're done. You stop what you're doing and you go into the next thing. For me, that's work. That's my work time. And so this is a really good transition for me from mom mode or housekeeper mode into work mode. And it helps just settle my brain. It helps give me just space to start something else, especially if you don't have an office or a place that you can go to just close the door and ignore all of the other things going on. This is a really great tip and something that's been a total game changer for me. You'll be surprised at how much you can accomplish in just 5 minutes. So I hope you give it a try. I hope this tip helps. You're rocking it, mama.
Hi, I'm Teresa White. I am a business coach and mentor to service-based work-from-home moms. I'm a mom and bonus mom to 7 adults and Glamour to 2 amazing little girls and a soon-to-be foster mom. When I think about productivity tips, especially for the working mom, and what I think would be a game changer in your business is a technique that I've been using for the last year. It's called the Pomodoro technique. I have shiny object syndrome really, really bad. So when I have block scheduling on my calendar for a 2-hour block of time and need to knock out my to-do list or tasks or maybe a project, I get so distracted that I may not get it all accomplished. It's rare that I get it all accomplished. After implementing the Pomodoro technique, I get everything accomplished and lots of times in less time than I think it's going to get accomplished. And what the Pomodoro technique is it's working really against the timer. So you take that block of time, your list of tasks or to-dos or the project you need to get knocked out, and you set a timer for 20 minutes. And you go head down and work to get as much knocked out as you possibly can before the timer goes off. Once the timer goes off, you take a 10-minute break. You set a timer for 10 minutes, you get up, you move around, you step away from the work, re-energize yourself, refill a cup of coffee, whatever you need to do before you go back head down. And then once that 10-minute break is over, you set the timer for 20 minutes again and go head down, start tackling the left on your list for the next segment of 20 minutes. Look at these like sprints. At the end of that 20 minutes, you take another 10-minute break. So if you're doing a 2-hour block of time, you're basically taking 4 20-minute sprints of head down work with no distractions, and then 4 10-minute breaks. What I have found, one is working against a timer. I stay so focused. I don't allow shiny objects or distractions to get in my way. And I get so much more accomplished. It truly has been a game changer for me in my business in almost a year that I've been using it. And so I would highly recommend when you're working from home, especially when you don't know that you have either nap time or a very small block of time to get done what you need to get done, I highly recommend using the Pomodoro technique and working against the timer. It will help keep those distractions at bay and help keep you focused on the work that you need to get accomplished. And wishing you the absolute best, and I hope this helped.
Hey, my name is Devonnae, and I started my brand and web design business as a self-taught creative in spring of last year, so 2021, when my son was about 6 months old. So coming up on my first year, and it's been a lot of learning on a lot of fronts, but I do feel like I've gotten some pieces of this down in a way that works really well for me. And I think what's helped me do that and be like not just productive, but purposefully productive, so that I am able to only work about 20 hours or so on my week, but still, work with clients that I really enjoy working with, that really enjoy working with me, and always, invoicing in the thousands and just having systems that work well for my life and the business that I want to build is to have a really clear internal compass. And so in the beginning, like I got this idea when my son was around 2-ish months to make this pivot. And I spent like pretty much all that time from then to when I started really just dreaming, like in like kind of deliriously as I was up all night feeding and all that wonderful new motherhood things. It was nice to just really have that time to envision and to dream about like, why do I want to do this now? Why can I do this? Why am I the person to do this? And help my people with the things that I want to share and sell to them. And why is that important to them? How does that help them? Like really, kind of painting that picture of what the business should feel like and should do, and why it was important for me to do it, really has helped me be able to move forward in a way that feels good. And I do think it should feel good, especially in the beginning, because like, this is my business. And, you know, if I enjoy it, then I know that I'm going to be able to go the distance. And as I'm going, like, hopefully it's a long ride and I can look back and say, wow, I really enjoyed, you know, a lot of that. And that's kind of the goal for me. And I would imagine you also want to enjoy the work that you're doing, right? And so, yeah, I definitely also did invest because I knew what I was trying to do and the way that I wanted to do it. It was also easy to find mentors who I could see kind of had pieces of the puzzle figured out. A few, and I think a few is better than a lot, because I know for me, the more voices I have in my head, the harder it is for me to hear my own. And that's the one that I know is going to be able to best lead me and how to, you know, take the next best step for me and my life and, you know, the business that I'm working to build. And so, yeah, having a few mentors and being able to know how to apply their insights and their strategies in a way that works. It really helped me not have to start from the beginning in a lot of things. So that also helped me kind of be purposefully productive too. And yeah, I think those are the biggest thing. Like, and I think motherhood helps a lot with that, because there are so many decisions that you're having to make. And especially as a new mom, and even, you know, as a mom of many, each one is different. And so, or at least that's what I hear. So it's like you're constantly learning. And the biggest thing is like learning to like flex your discernment muscle and figure out like when to trust yourself and make a decision, and when to look for outside guidance and information, and then figure out how to apply that in a way that works for you and your child, or in this case, your business or my business. So yeah, I hope that that is helpful. Like, if you haven't already, take some time to really get clear on the vision for your business, why you want to do it, what it should feel like, who it should help, and how it should help them. And I think all of that will help you be able to navigate all the decisions that come more effectively and productively. So yeah, you can do this. You were made for it, and I'm wishing you all the best.
Hey y'all, I'm Octavia Elease. I'm a brand and short website designer here in Atlanta. I've owned my business for about 5 years now. I am a boy mom to 3 not so tiny humans, 20, 16, and 14 years old. When I think about productivity as a working mom, my best tip is to write it down. I have a list and calendar for everything, okay? Creating our family calendar was definitely a game changer for my household. Before the calendar, we had tons of double scheduling, which always ended up being an issue when it came time to actually get things done. I typically start my day off with devotion to get my mind and spirit ready for the day, because as a mom, each day is its own. When the boys get home from school, it's homework and sports. I am the ultimate baseball and soccer mom. Evenings in my home is pretty typical. Dinner, baths, a little reading. Sometimes we'll watch a television show together, but otherwise it's pretty basic. I wrap up my day the same way I started, with devotion, just to get ready and reset for the next day. Since my boys are school age, I work while they are at school. I time block my day to ensure I maximize my time. I typically underschedule my day to leave some wiggle room though, just in case it's needed. It also gives me a sense of accomplishment for completing the tasks on my list. So as long as I don't overschedule myself, I am good to go. OMG, self-care. This is a must for me. So there are 2 things I consider a must. Like, I cannot live without these things. 1 is a good old-fashioned mani-pedi. 2 is the mobile detailer, okay? This guy has completely changed my life. He has completely upped my mom game. Having the car detailer guy come to the house, like while I'm working, oh my God. I'm just telling you, if you are a boy mom or just a mom, period, get you a mobile detailer. It will change your life. It will completely make you reinvent the whole mom thing, okay? Motherhood always comes before work. Being present for my boys is very important to me. My parents were often absent from my childhood, so when I became a mom, I knew that I never wanted my kids to feel as though they were an afterthought. I have spent many of days crisscrossing baseball and soccer fairs, cheering my boys on. Being present is my happy place as a mom. The best tip I can give a new mom trying to grow their business is to get a routine, something that works for you and your household. There will be some trial and error, but hang in there. I promise you, it will come soon enough. You will find your groove and everything will eventually pan itself out. Everyone will have their opinions on how you should balance your home and your work life. Take what you need and leave the rest. You don't want too many cooks in the kitchen trying to tell you how to run your business and your household.
All right, friends, that is it for the tips today. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope it blesses you in your motherhood journey, and I hope you can leave this conversation feeling encouraged and uplifted because you can do this. You're amazing, and thank you for listening all the way to the end. And if you enjoyed this episode, I want to encourage you to go to episode 152. So just scrolling back a little bit, I did the exact same concept there. That time it was 7 different moms on the show, and the topic was not productivity, but more about how to get help as a working mom in your business with like a team in your business and different strategies there, or in your personal life with things like childcare, help around the house, grocery delivery, all kinds of topics like that. So you'll love that episode too. That is episode 152 if you want to scroll back to it. And then if you want some tips for planning a maternity leave as a business owner, I would encourage you to go to episodes 139 and 158. I share all about how I planned my own maternity leave and then what it was really like. And there's tons of tips in both of those episodes. Also episode, I want to say 157. I share all about my postpartum journey. So like there's so much motherhood content on this podcast, and primarily as you scroll around, you'll see I'm mostly sharing advice about how to build a successful business through marketing, your website, and so many other things. So I hope you'll explore the podcast and enjoy other episodes and share this with a mom friend who you think this would benefit. And yeah, that's it. Thanks so much for being here. And I'll be back next time with probably a more like business tips related podcast. All right, I'll talk to you then.